Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is a continuation of the public panel interview by the Judicial and Bar Council of candidates for the position of Associate Justice in the Court of Appeals, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. The candidates for interview this afternoon are the following: Judge Maria Celestina C. Cruz Mangrobang and Judge Maximo M. De Leon, who are both vying for the position of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals and the Court of Tax Appeals. May I request the candidates to please raise your right hand so that I can administer the oath? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public panel interview by the Judicial and Bar Council?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
So help you God. Thank you. Your Honors, the first to be interviewed this afternoon is Judge Cruz Mangrobang. And the first to interview her is the Honorable Judge Franklin J. De Monteverde. Judge De Monteverde, sir.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge Mangrobang, good afternoon.
Afternoon po, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay. Judge, you are applying for posts sa Court of Appeals and Court of Tax Appeals, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you were interviewed by the council just last year, di ba?
Yes. Yes po.
Okay, has there been any significant changes in your credentials from last year to date?
Well, actually, I was one of the 5 finalists in the search for the most outstanding second-level judge last year of the Society for Judicial Excellence. Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So you are now the presiding judge of RTC Branch 38 in Manila,
Yes, Your Honor, a family court.
Family Court. And how long have you been there as a presiding judge of the Family Court?
Since I was promoted on November 2007.
2007.
2007.
And what's your caseload?
Right now, I have 280.
280. You took the bar exams in 1979 and was admitted to the practice of law in 1980.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Sabay
That's
pala
correct,
tayo.
Your Honor.
Sabay
Ay.
pala tayo.
Oo, hindi tayo nakita nun. It's good I met you today.
Anyway, how long have you been with the judiciary?
Since 1987, so 40, around
About
about 4 decades
yeah.
already.
Tagal na, no?
Opo.
And prior to that, where were you connected?
Well, actually, prior to that, I got married and I consider myself a domesticated lawyer, handling a few cases from our neighborhood. But before that, I was a working student and a bank examiner at the Philippine Commercial and Industrial Bank. So that was sometime in 1970s, late 70s.
Okay. Now, you are an applicant for the Court of Tax Appeals. So, how well prepared are you for that position?
Well, I try to brush up on my laws on the CTA. So far, because previously I am focused on my job as a family court judge, Your Honor.
You are a CPA judge?
Yes, Your Honor. I passed the bar. I passed the board when I was in first year law. That was 1973, 74.
Okay. Now, between the two appellate courts, the Court of Appeals and Court of Tax Appeals, which would you prefer?
Well, I would love to have a romance again with my first love, and that is accounting.
counting. So you would prefer to be
The
appointed to the court
CPA.
of tax.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
Your Honor.
okay. Duly noted, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So aside from being a CPA, what other credentials do you have?
Well,
I understand you took up some data processing or what? Or key
yes,
punching as
that
vocational.
was I think that was the first time that the computer has been introduced to the country. So because it's quite novel, I tried to learn key punching because right after the board I was I must say passive because I just uh, I'm not yet employed and I'm not doing anything. So I tried to study this key punching, but it's more of entries of data, and that kind of computer is no longer viable today because
Yeah.
the technology quite,
Mm.
has quite improved.
So, Judge, you mentioned earlier that last year you were given an award. So, what other credentials do you have aside from last year's award given you?
Well, I believe my credential is I have been invited by the Philippine Judicial Academy to act as facilitator. Actually, I was one of the small group facilitator yesterday at the competency enhancement training on child for the judges, prosecutors, social workers, and branch clerks. So just had a stint the whole day yesterday, and also I was also made member of some technical working group for the preparation of the legal forms in family courts. Considering that now we have enthroned already the bona fide family courts, and also part of the TWG in the preparation of the rules on family mediation.
Okay. Now, you were shortlisted by the JBC several times since 2013. 5 times for the Court of Appeals and 3 times for the CTA. Is
Yes, Your
that correct?
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Now, aside from the fact that an appointment is a presidential prerogative, what do you think could have been the reason or reasons as to why you were not appointed to any of the appellate courts applied for?
Um, Actually, I really don't know. Maybe because I'm a Rodora. Very obscure.
Uh,
Okay. But like the Rhodora flower of Ralph Waldo Emerson, though small and obscure, I still have fragrance. So probably it's not yet my time to be appointed. That is why I'm still applying at this
okay.
point.
Now, for 19 years that you have been with the judiciary, you have performed creditably, as in fact, you have earned many credentials.
Thank you,
What do
Your
you think?
Honor.
What do you think is your greatest contribution to the judiciary as a family court judge?
Well, as a family court judge, I believe the decisions that I have made and also the success stories of the children in conflict with the law, that after I have tried, I have given these convictions and the suspensions and the disposition programs, they will come back to me and tell me that, Judge, I am now working with this and that, and I have now a family. So that is a big success for me, and it really delights me. And right now, I am also participating in the UPPGA's Child Protection Unit. I do the court familiarization segment of their kids program. Last, uh, I think 3 weeks ago, we had an online, but we usually do it face to face. But because of this ECQ and GCQ, we had our first online last 3 weeks ago, and we were able to conduct the familiarization of these are usually the child abuse, sexually abused children. We try to mitigate their stress and help them out to be able to boldly take the testimony in court hearings. We also assist in trying to help and to inform the parents and guardians on how to go about in trying to take care of these children who are abused by referring them to the child protection unit for therapy. And also, we also conduct mock trials to help out naman the doctors as well as the social workers to be properly prepared in giving testimonies to courts. I do this with of my PAO and my prosecutor. They
Okay.
are
And upon the other hand, what was the most difficult incident that you had encountered as a
so
family
far.
judge? Yes. The
Well,
most difficult.
actually,
Uh,
not really difficult, but I would say sometimes frustrating,
mhm.
especially when you really try hard to uh, give advice and even try to help out together with the social workers, some CICLs, and then they commit another offense. It really sad thing. But there are other factors in our society that we really cannot overcome, like poverty, perhaps, and well, the individual differences.
Okay. Now, as a family court judge, are the legal and social interventions by the government agencies mandated to address BAUSI implemented and enforced properly?
Well, generally, I think so, because although I must say that inadequate po yung mga particularly with reference to the victim.
Mhm.
I think it's inadequate. That is why we have the training. As I have said, even the PILJA is trying to help out by creating modules and seminars so that the police enforcers, the social workers, and even the judges and prosecutors are trained on how to handle and make successful every cases that are filed concerning this kind of or this nature of cases that are being brought under the BAUC.
Okay. Now, medically, Judge, your record shows that your platelet has increased. Are you aware of that?
I have tried to talk it out with my internalist cardio, and he did not say anything about that.
This was the result of the lab test taken sometime in September of this year.
Yes, Your Honor.
And on the urinalysis, you have blood traces in it. And then on the blood chemistry, you have high fasting blood sugar, uric acid, HDL, and SGPT.
Well,
So
actually,
many.
when I read that report, I consulted my doctor, Dr. Romero, and he adjusted my medicine. Now, when I was instructed by the JBC to have a detailed medical certificate, I approached a government doctor, Dr. Marcelo, and she told me to have another blood chem.
Okay.
So I did that, although I was apprehensive because what I know is that at least to have a difference from the result at least quarterly. But she said, no, let's have it. So for barely 2 months after my medicine was adjusted, I had this second examination of my blood chem, and she gave me a favorable certification saying that the medicine was all right and my FBS is well controlled because of the result, a favorable result of that second blood chem. examination.
You are not a diabetic, Judge.
I am taking maintenance. It's diabetes mellitus, Your Honor.
Okay. Type 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
How high how high is your blood sugar level now?
My blood sugar,
Yeah, level, the
uh,
blood sugar level.
if I remember right, it's something like 6. Uh, I have not, but I know it improved, but I cannot exactly give the number right now.
You also have atherosclerotic aorta, chest X-ray
Yes,
result.
yes, Your Honor.
Take
So
care of take care
I
of your
asked the
cholesterol.
doctor.
Oh,
Okay. I asked
uh-huh.
the doctor what is that because I feel afraid. I don't understand it.
It's not
But
life
he said,
threatening.
what do you expect at your age? That's what he answered me. What do you expect at your age? So it was
It's merely the accumulation of plaques
okay.
and
Yes,
minerals
of the
lining
happy
inner wall of the
indulgence.
aorta. Natakot ka, ha?
Oo po, at, it's high sounding. I don't know about it. Aorta, it refers to the brain. So, so
Okay,
I
Judge.
was
How do you define independence?
well. I defined independence as uh, on my part, you can do what you want. You are free to decide, to act, and do what you want.
Okay. Now, how well can you handle stress-laden situations?
I think at my age now, I could handle it perfectly. I
No
am
problem
not
at all.
easily excited.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there might be some problems, but I try to resolve it.
What about anxiety and depression? Are you affected by it principally?
Of course, I am affected, but I believe I can control it because as a Christian, I do believe that in nothing be anxious. We bring all this to the Lord, and He will give us a peace of mind that is unknown to men. Philippians.
So, whenever you are depressed or you suffer anxiety, what happens to your motivation to achieve things? Has it been lowered? Your motivation has been lowered
Uh,
because of this anxiety?
if I am really focused on that thing, I don't think so because
You
that
don't
is
think
a
so?
challenge for me, and I like
Uh-huh.
challenges. Because that makes me feel that I'm still living, alert and alert.
So, what is your personality, Judge?
They say I'm motherly in the way that I handle things, particularly the family court.
I can see that the way we talk.
I think
Okay.
I'm an amiable person, but there are also times that I really get angry.
So, what
But
happens when you get angry? What happens when you get angry?
uh, well, probably I'm a little less considerate, and I really say what I want to say.
But you don't go into violent fits.
No, no.
What do you do usually when you get
I
angry?
usually call on the name of the Lord. Maybe it's a good thing that I have learned it early in life. And actually, last year I have several challenges. My surrogate mother died, and we really have to take care of her. And also, my doctor son got really very sick. And thanks to the Lord, it's a miracle. He's still living, and
Mhm. Okay.
well, I'm
And
happy.
how well is your relationship with your staff?
Stop.
If your staff would be allowed to or given the opportunity to voice their appreciation of you, what would be what do you
I
think would be
think
the response?
we have a very good relationship. I trust them and they trust me. And in these times of the pandemic, I do most of my work via online, and I am
Okay.
very happy about their work. particularly when we are uh, crafting and doing our decision and orders and resolution through the online, because they even work even in the evening when I text them and you change this, I will make dictation. Yes, and they follow me. So I do believe that our working relationship is good, and I think also that my court is efficient in that way, and we have done our duties in the manner that is expected, maybe beyond, because we work now 24/7.
Okay. And what about your relationship with your peers, with your fellow judges?
Uh, I think I'm good because right now, so sorry what happened to Judge Badilla, but she is my co-chairwoman in our program for providing HMO for the RTC judges. And so all the work now is being done for me, and almost every day I have to answer things, questions. And just 2 days ago, we had the signing of the MOA with PhilCare. And just this morning, I was asked about the contribution to Christmas contribution to the janitors and the other guards, security guards. I'm also doing it, and we had this vaccination project for flu and pneumonia. I was also the coordinator there, so I think I'm in good relationship with the most, and even with the new judges that I have not seen face to face.
Okay.
They text me.
Now, my last question, Judge. What is your concept of leadership?
For me, leadership is not really imposing your will on somebody else, but it is guiding, giving guidance, leading them on, being a good example, trying to answer what they need, and if you could provide it, then do so. If not, then find ways on how we could solve any problems or differences.
Okay, Judge, that was my last question. Good luck
Okay?
and stay safe.
Thank you. Stay safe also,
Okay, safe.
Your Honor.
Okay, bye
God
bye.
bless. Thank you.
Attorney Tally.
Thank you, Honorable Judge De Monteverde.
Okay,
Thank you
sige.
po. The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham.
Thank you, Attorney
Okay.
Tally. Good afternoon,
Good,
Judge.
good afternoon, Your Honor.
I hate to disappoint you.
Yes.
You are overqualified. And you
Thank you, Your
are
Honor.
overstaying in
Yes.
the Judicial Trial Court.
Okay. Thank you for that observation, Your Honor.
I really don't know what to ask you anymore because I think you are really qualified. Let me
Thank
just
you.
ask about something else. The common problem in the courts is the speedy disposition of cases. Is there a mechanism whereby we can monitor the magistrates, the judges, how fast they are resolving their cases? Should there be some sort of a resident ombudsman in every court to conduct a judicial audit? Of course, the Office of the Court Administrator is doing it, but really monitoring the age of cases. Do you think there's a way that it can be done?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. And I think the basic needs have already been laid down, because we have the monthly report,
Okay.
and we also
And
have the semestral report.
I
So
remember when we were in the RTC, it was strictly on a no work, no pay basis, correct? If you do not submit your monthly report, you don't get paid your salary.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
But
That
is
is
that
true.
sufficient? Is that sufficient?
No, I think the problem is that they do not know how to age it really and follow up. Because when I was in Nabotas, MATC judge, I had more than 2,000 cases. So I tried to trim it out first by trying to look which cases really had to be heard and which could be dismissed outrightly. And I have devised a way then, I have templates because my problem then is that I have to schedule 50 to 80 cases a day because it's 2,000. So I try to innovate by having two stenographers, one attending the hearing and one that the my interpreter will give the instruction. This is dismissed, this is sentenced, and she will use the template that I prepared so that while hearing the other cases, I will be able to sign the earlier recalled cases, sentence or dismiss. So in just that afternoon, I am able to release if the accused are detained. And also, because of this template, my resolutions and decisions are made easy. When I left there, I think my caseload is around 800 or 700. Because when I was first appointed to that, Attorney Bahia told me, Hari manawa, maayos mo yan. Because there was a conflict between the judge. The previous judge then was dismissed. And he had a fight with the branch clerk, the cash clerk. And thankfully, by the Lord's grace, I was able to be promoted and left Nabotas in a very, I would say, good condition. And even when the late Justice Pamperada visited me, he commented me on the way that I made my let's say the records arrangement. It is color coded. He
I
commented me on that.
think
That
agree that you agree,
I
Judge,
observed
that
that it had a color coded.
do you agree
Uh,
that cases should be treated like patients in a hospital? There should be a chart that shows the history of the cases, when it was filed, when was the last hearing date, things like that. So
we have
that,
that in the e-court.
oh, that's good. That's good. Are all judges doing that?
I believe so. If they follow the circulars, because Manila is e-court.
Why is it that there's still a lot of unresolved cases? Is it a reflection that in the past there were lazy judges assigned to those courts, or they were not in a hurry to decide it?
I think there are many factors affecting the delay of a case. I cannot really admit 100% that all the timelines have been followed by me because there are really some cases that are problematic. And at times, particularly now during the pandemic, I believe even the Supreme Court observed this. That is why there are suspension of the timelines. So particularly now, I try to review my semestral inventory, and there are things not beyond the required timeline. That is why I already advise my branch clerk to list down all this because I usually list down the old cases, and then we try to calendar it more frequently and nearer dates so that as much as possible we finish all cases first. And I think maybe that's one way also to encourage judges that they try to police their own selves. I mean, to look to monitor their own selves by preparing this. Because if you have the semestral inventory, you will be able to see, this is more than this period. So you try to work it on your own. I think so.
Do you think it is important to incentivize the resolution of cases by giving judges incentive bonus for resolving cases as fast as possible? So it will not be
I
fair,
really
yet
don't.
at the same time, it's a reward for hard work. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, in my case, well, I don't know, but I don't think it should be really needed because there was a time that I was asking myself, I'm a family court judge. Every raffle date, I get more than 20 cases, 70 cases in a month. And here, the regular court, 68 cases for the whole docket. And we're getting that only for 1 week. But I said, maybe this is the Lord's preparation for me for something better. And because I voluntarily applied and got the job that I want, so it is my duty to fulfill it. So personally, I don't think that is really very crucial because there are other ways that we could encourage judges to really give it their best.
That's correct. The Supreme Court, without judges knowing it, they monitor the judges. They know who are hardworking and they know who are lazy. So the Supreme Court knows that. So even if you do something good, even if you do not announce it publicly, the Supreme Court will always have a way to find out your good work. Now, my last question, because I don't want to ask you questions anymore, because you are qualified for the two
Thank you. Thank you,
positions.
Your Honor.
Uh, the Daily Tribune came out with an editorial last November 28 assailing the Judicial and Bar Council for exercising a lot of influence and pressure over judges they are vetting. I'd like your opinion on this. Are the members of the JBC capable of influencing magistrates with respect to cases pending before your court, in your opinion?
Well, I don't think so because going by my case, I have not experienced such thing.
You have been interviewed by the JBC before.
Yes, Your Honor.
In the past, did any JBC member or any lawyer from JBC ever approach you to ask favors regarding cases pending before your court?
My court? No, not Your Honor.
Supposing you are shortlisted and nominated by this JBC, will you listen to any entreaties or approaches that may be made by any JBC member
Well,
concern?
if ever any JBC member will approach me, I will listen. But to act on it in favor of what that person might say or request, that is subject to my own will.
I
So
I do not
I believe
understand. I don't understand the the basis of that editorial that the members of the JBC, because all of the members of the JBC are retired. We do not operate any law office. We are not capable of exerting pressure on any magistrate for that matter. Now,
yes,
in
and
your
I do
opinion,
believe.
is it because the editorial of the Daily Tribune was suggesting that we go back to the old Commission on Appointments, wherein the President makes the appointment and submits it to Congress for confirmation. Do you think that is a better, it is better to go back to the old system rather than
Uh,
JBC? Do you have more chances of being appointed?
I think the present status is better than the old one because all the prerogatives will be centered on the president, and they do not know what we are doing. While we here in the judiciary and the JBC, they know what we our performance.
That's
So
and the
I think
JBC,
a better
is
situation now because
the
they know how we
JBC
work
is
and what we do.
multi-represented, multi-represented. So you have the Chief Justice is there, you have the Secretary of Justice, you have a representative from Congress, then
Yes,
you
that's
have
true, Your Honor.
Justice Mendoza, who is representing the retired members of the Supreme Court. You have Judge Ilaw representing the private sector. I represent the academe, and then Judge de Monteverde represents the IBP. So it is
So it's very holistic and
represented.
comprehensive.
Do you think, in your opinion, do you think the JBC presently is lax in the screening? Should we be more strict? What do you think?
No, 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 Your Honor. Actually, I'm so nervous when when I sat down here. I'm only relieved with what you're saying to me, but I'm really nervous, and I really tried very hard to read on the jurisprudence and refresh my. Well, I think harder than taking the bar.
So
So,
my
so no,
question is,
you're
do you
not
think
lax.
we should be more strict?
Again,
Should
please.
we be more strict?
Mm, no, no, no. I don't think Your Honor,
What?
don't be so strict because, as I have said, we really are nervous when we are scheduled for interview because we really do not know what will be asked. That's it.
And
It's
of course,
going unknown, and that is why we're nervous.
the people, the public thinks that the interview is the sole basis of the evaluation. And of course, you know that that is not the sole basis. We consider the credentials.
Well,
We even conduct decision writing. We essay examinations.
yes,
We
it's really
conduct a
very comprehensive, Your Honor.
very rigid
Rigid.
medical,
True, true.
psychological examination.
Yes,
These are things which the public do not know. All
yes,
right,
that's
thank you
true,
very
Your
much.
Honor.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
also.
Judge. I do not want you to be anxious about the interview.
Thank
And
you very much, Your Honor.
good luck.
Keep safe and God bless.
Thank you, Justice Tiham. The next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Lao Jr.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Attorney Maria Socorro Akat Taliinting. Yes, good afternoon, Judge Cruz Mangrobang.
Yeah, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge. So, what's your nickname? It's Tina.
Tina po, opo.
Tina nga pala. All right. After a desultory skimming of your records, with respect to the administrative cases, out of the 74 applicants, you are among the few with few administrative cases. What can you say about what can you say about this?
Well, I believe I have done my work well, and I have not antagonized people with the wrong decision or resolution. Probably they agree with what I did.
And how have you handled them? Excuse me. How have you handled them
Which
that would you think will prepare you for the appellate court?
um right now, besides having this crash study on CTA and the appellate court, CA, I believe that my experience as a judge, the attitude, the work habits, and I have also tried to learn how to do the research on online. Uh, I also, well, with regards to CTA, I would say that my preparatory law school will help me a lot because most of the technical terms, particularly in taxation, will be quite familiar to me. And also terms, incorporation, and well, in commercial law, I think that will help me out in doing a job if ever I will be appointed at the CTA. If at the CA, I believe that my past experiences with different cases, because although I am a family court judge, when I first arrived at RTC 38, I had to decide on admiralty cases like the bottom reef. There are estate cases that were left there, and because it has been ongoing, it would no longer be transferred to the regular court. So I have to attend to that. So somehow, I have some experience in some other cases besides family courts cases. Your Honor.
All right. It took a particular interest to the alleged violation of Supreme Court circulars numbers 1-99, Canon 2 of the CPR and Republic Act number 6713, filed by, who is this? Judge Florentino Floro Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, that was on August 10, 1999. Although it was dismissed, would you recall the factual settings of this case and what happened? I remember this Judge Florentino
Yes,
Floro.
Judge Florentino Floro Jr., the one who's the healing judge, he calls himself the healing judge. Actually, at that time, I was the clerk of court of RTC Malabon Nabotas. And so when there was a resolution issued by the Supreme Court that he be suspended because there were several cases filed against him for graft and corruption, my executive judge assigned me to audit the books and records of Judge Floro because his assistant is asking for certified true copies of the cases that were involved in the cases against him, administrative cases against him. And Judge Aquino then, my EJ, is apprehensive that he might get some of the records. So that is why before proceeding to approve the request for certified true copy, he asked me to inventory all the cases. So I inventoried it, and then during break time at lunch, I went back to my office. When I returned, there was ano ba to? Tupperware party being conducted through the approval of the branch clerk. Can you hear me, Jans? Ba? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm still listening.
So when I arrived there, they were eating at the lawyer's table their lunch, and someone is demonstrating about the Tupperware. So I just sat at the back because I'm waiting for the branch clerk to have the records given to me so that I could continue with my audit of the records. And that was the time that I noticed that I was sitting beside the secretary and the driver of Judge Floro. Then an attorney from the PAO, Attorney Domingo, came and said, "Oy, nagpa-party kayo. It's office time." But actually, it's not yet. Even 1 o'clock, it's past 12. And then after that, they finished the Tupperware.
Excuse me, Judge. What's
In
the
short, in
this
short, probably the secretary and the driver told the story, and they filed a case citing that I was one of the spectators. But the Supreme Court decided that I should explain. I was the one made to explain, not the other who were really participating in that demonstration of the Tupperware. So I answered. So I answered it, and the case was dismissed.
at any rate? Do you have any news about him? Is he still around? Do you have any news about Judge
No,
Floro?
I really do not know anything about that. But what I remember best is the one when Judge Aquino asked us to have an ocular inspection of his chamber, and there I saw his oath taking with President Estrada, and at the caption, present are, he gave several names of the little friends. But in the picture, if you look at it, it's only President Estrada and Judge Floro. Nowhere can you see the names that are mentioned in the caption, which are supposed to be the duendes ata, parang ganun.
Duende,
Duendes
his
friends. So,
little friends. Okay.
it was captured there at the bottom of the picture. But if you look at the picture, you don't see any. Just the two of them, President Estrada and Judge.
Alright, in your PDS, you enumerated 77 seminars, trainings that you have attended.
Yes, Your Honor.
You likewise enumerated your participation as facilitator, speaker in at least 60 instances.
Yes, Your Honor.
Didn't these activities hinder you in the disposal of your cases? Because so many
No, I try to manage my calendar, and that is why I have less than 300. I think it's 200 plus criminal, 64 civil, and a little less than 10 special proceedings.
By the way, you will be 68 years old by April next year.
Yes, Your Honor.
Should you be nominated and appointed to the appellate court, do you think you have enough time left to make a substantial contribution to the said appellate court?
Yes, Your Honor, because even one significant act could, equivalent to a lifetime achievement. And I do hope that that one act could be made by me. I mean, it's not how long, it's the quality that counts, Your Honor.
Alright, you're vying for the post of Associate Justice of the Court of Tax Appeals.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you may have brushed up so many cases in relation to, or cases before the Court of Tax Appeals. My question is, can a party file a petition for declaratory relief in assailing the constitutionality of revenue revenue memorandum circular issued by the Bureau of Internal Revenue? This is number 65-2012. It was decided on January 15, 2020. Are you aware of this case?
I'm sorry. I don't know. Going by the numbers, the citation, perhaps if the substance, yeah.
But the question is, can a party file a petition for certiorari?
Certiorari.
A petition for declaratory relief.
Declaratory relief
assailing the constitutionality of the said BIR revenue memorandum circular.
So there is no actual controversy affecting the petitioner, just a memorandum.
Another question, the gist of controversy is whether the petition for declaratory relief is proper.
At that point, I don't think so. If there is no prejudice to the petitioner, uh, and if it is in the exercise of if the memorandum was issued in the exercise of the quasi-legislative power of the BIR.
So the next question, are association dues and membership fees collected by condominium corporations subject to income tax?
I don't think so, Your Honor.
What did they say? What did the court say?
Actually, I have not read that particular case, but I do believe that it is not subject to income tax because it is not really income in a sense. And besides, if it is condominium unit referring to the association of the homeowners there, uh, I don't think that falls under the taxpayer enumeration of the tax code.
All right, your court, your sala is a special court, a family court, judge.
It is a designated, actually, it's not the bona fide court. It is a designated court before the appointment of the bona fide family court judges.
What are your thoughts in the case of people versus Amarela and Racho? There
On
was an acquittal of two accused for rape who were convicted by the regional trial court and the court of appeals because of inconsistencies in the testimony of the victim. The lone
and that
witness
is
for the was there
again,
really
please.
was there really the an abandonment of the Maria Clara doctrine? Are you aware of this case?
I'm sorry about. I'm not familiar.
All right, about another case, very recent
Okay.
also, is the installation of a stationary camera directly facing another person's property and revolving camera covering a significant portion of the same property violates a person's right to privacy.
I believe so, Your Honor, because it is intentionally focused on him, and it violates his private privacy.
What is the two-part test in determining the reasonableness of a person's expectation of privacy test?
Well, actually, the privacy of a person is protected by the Constitution. Uh, that incident wherein a camera, and we know what a camera does, it could be zoom in and zoom out. So that somehow violates his right uh, to that action violates his constitutional rights and should not be allowed and should be declared or stopped by the court.
What is the principle of proportionality? This is in a doctrine in administrative law. Do you have any idea, or have you come across with this principle or doctrine?
Proportional.
Proportionality.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I guess I'm poor in administrative cases.
That's because few administrative cases had been filed against you. All right. Let's go to another case.
Yes.
All right. In Season Barrias versus Judge Rubia. You know Judge Rubia.
Rubia, PJA.
Dati natin mga kasama
Opo,
na.
sa PJA.
Oh, yes. So, the Supreme Court likewise, the Supreme Court likened judges to Caesar's wife. What do such statement mean?
Beyond reproach, meaning at all times, a judge must act appropriately, and not only appropriately, that there should be no incident, there will be some semblance of doubt as to the propriety of such person. So, like Caesar's wife, beyond reproach, meaning almost perfect in his attitude and behavior for honesty, integrity.
All right, your husband is a businessman. What kind of business is he engaged in?
Actually, our family is engaged in fish operation. So when my father died, he was the one who took care of the fish pond in uh, here in Malabon and also in Pampanga. But right now, because of the hard times, and there was an incident that he was taken by the NPA and brought for judgment. So we just let the fish pond now for lease because it's not really earning much because of the uh, calamities and then of course of these outside people. He's just taking care of the ones at the back of our house in Malabon. It's a small one, but this he takes care of it personally.
Okay, you're residing at Malabon
Yes, Your Honor.
and also near Nabotas.
Yes,
You
we
still have
are.
that fish fund? Still have that fish fund?
Yes, Your Honor. That's near Tangos Nabotas.
So it's the home of the Rufina Patis?
The Rupina Patis is in Malabon po. Malabon.
Marabon.
Oho. But kasi, because Nabotas uh, is adjacent to Malabon, the place where we live. And so at the tip of that island, there is now Manila Bay. So we're quite near Manila Bay. If you will go to the top of our house, you could see Manila Bay.
By the way, Judge Manrobang, how many times have you been shortlisted?
I think more or less 8 times.
8 times.
Yes.
Do you know of any reason why you were not appointed? Sorry.
I answered that to Judge Monteverde. I told I'm a Rodora. Very, very insignificant, but if given the chance, might do something good and remarkable.
All right. Would you rather lose all of your memories or never be able to make new ones?
And again, please.
Would you rather
Would-
lose all of your memories or never be able to make new ones?
Uh, I don't want to lose my memories because then I will be an empty shell. Although I may make new ones, but at my age, I don't think that's quite a long time. So my old memories are golden to me.
All right, my last question, Judge Tina. With your eyes
Oh,
closed, tell us step by step on how to tie shoes.
with my eyes closed. Okay.
Tell us step by
Actually,
step on how to tie shoes.
well, at my age, I buy shoes, not really using the strings, but the
String,
Velcro, but the Velcro.
Velcro, or even slip on.
Yes.
But the
Oh,
question is
but
how to,
if I am really obliged to, I will do it right over left and then pull it inside out and then tie a ribbon.
okay. Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Your
Judge
Honor.
Tina. And good
Salamat
luck
po.
again.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you po. Kate. God bless.
God bless you too. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Tony
po.
Tali. Ikaw, ano, slip-on ba yung shoes mo?
Ah,
Chinelas.
sige po.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm not,
Honorable Judge Ilaw. The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Oh, good afternoon,
Ay,
Judge.
good afternoon po, Your Honor.
We last interviewed you before and you were nominated. I will just ask few questions. So, ang haba nito, depende rin sa sagot nyo. Everybody covered na, my colleagues covered your, nobody covered your Salen, I think. I just want you know, your 2019 Salen, you indicated your net worth was 11,836.
11M.
Yes, 11 million, 11.8 million, ganun.
Okay.
But in 2010, your net worth was 10 million, or 10.2 million. So your increase is very negligible, 600 only from 2010 to 2019. How come?
Well, actually po, Your Honor, because last like last year, uh, we had we had some really big expenses when my surrogate mother, the one who also took care of us, and the single sister of my father died, and he was hospitalized for quite some time. And also my son, doctor, also hospice for a month at the St. Luke's. So we really have to spend much. And also the earnings, my earnings and my husband in the past few years were spent on family. I last 2 years ago, my eldest son had an accident and he broke his arm. He's an artist, but now he's recovering and now painting once more. So I think these expenses took a toll on my SAL-N. And most of the assets that we have are really real assets. The house that we were able to buy before I entered the judiciary, and some vehicles that we use daily in going to the office and some other things.
Okay. And your business was also affected, fish pond business.
Because as I have said before,
Yes.
We are now leasing the Pampanga, and that is not purely mine.
Okay.
That is the property of our parents, and we share the list payments there. with my brother and sisters.
And you
And
said
the one we had,
you were also affected by outsiders, right?
yes, yeah, yeah.
And
Actually, we filed a case was filed against our bantay or the overseer there in Pampanga for illegal possession of firearms. But actually, that is not true. That is why it was dismissed and was not even filed, dismissed at the office of the prosecutor. And
who was
also,
taken by the outsiders? Who was taken and tried by
my
the outsiders?
husband and the bantay, the overseer. Because
So
when we were gathering the contents of our fish pond, the bantay or the overseer shot the warning sign because the people around are trying to get the product. And it so happened when the bullet fell down, it brushed against the knee of a child. So he was accused of grave of that of firing the gun. Uh, but when we tried to get the original certificate of the injury, they erased the one they submitted to the prosecutor's office. It is injury less than 9 days, but they put 30 days. So that's why the prosecutor
so
is the case. And my husband and the overseer were taken to a Nipahat and was adjudged guilty and asked us to pay a certain sum of money. I think it's around 20,000. So we have to
that
pay.
is not
We,
a judgment by the our government, not a judgment, but by our government.
yes, yes. Monthly operating list of what to give, rice, canned goods. So we just stop and have it
So,
and just list the property. We
sige.
cannot deal with that.
Because of that, what is your opinion on red tagging?
Red
Red
tagging,
tagging is
uh, meaning communist like that.
that's what you are reading in the newspapers, in the media. You must have heard that. You must not. It could not have escaped your attention because you're a judge. A judge has to be informed. Uh, what is your opinion on red tagging?
Well, I think if red tagging is that labeling people for what you think they are and are not sure, I think that's not correct. But if there are bases for doing so, then I think that would be all right because uh, people will be cautious
Okay,
and they will be well informed of what's happening.
okay. Ganyan na lang. I will not go further. In the number two of your essay, uh, this is this was asked because in the United States Supreme Court, do you follow important cases in the United States Supreme Court?
I'm sorry, I'm not that.
Uh, well,
Yeah.
like this in California, the government restricted the attendance in a church. The church went to the Supreme Court and lost. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that California can restrict the attendance in the church uh, of- uh, because to limit the spread of the COVID-19 uh, this COVID-19 virus. After that decision by the Supreme Court, New York uh, made the same restrictions on the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church of New York went to the Supreme Court. Okay, can you guess what was the ruling?
I think that would be
Just a
that would be
span of
allowed.
two.
It's
Allowed.
not an infringement of the. Uh, Your
Not
Honor,
an
Chappie po, I
infringement.
cannot really. Not
You're not
an.
Chappie. Am I the one Chappie?
So,
Attorney Talix, sino? Chappie ako o si Attorney? Si Judge?
Clear naman po kayo both sa akin po.
Ganun.
Delay.
oh,
Hindi daw ako madinig.
Clear
So ngayon, okay na ngayon?
hello,
Clear
hello,
na?
okay na?
Oh, clear na, clear na. Oh,
Okay, sige po.
tuloy
Yung,
ko. Okay.
sige po.
So, in your view, the Supreme Court should reiterate each decision and allow the state of New York to control attendance in the Catholic Church.
Yes,
That is
yes,
your view.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor, because of the present condition, and that would be good for the public health and welfare.
Well, you must not, siguro you failed to read this, but the Supreme Court changed its position and said it is an infringement of the right to religious belief or the exercise thereof of the Catholic Church and the two churches. That was the decision of the Supreme Court. What is your personal opinion?
Well, come to think of it, Your Honor, because you made reference to the question that was given to us during the written examination, and it said public religious gathering.
Yes,
So
yes.
I said no. Now, if it is
No,
in
hindi, wala
confines
pa.
of the church, of
Wala
the
pa.
building, I think.
I'm still not there. I just mentioned the two cases or
Okay.
decisions in the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yes. So I was thinking.
Now, what is your opinion? So this is religious gathering. I'm not asking this. I know your answer. You place it here. Now I'm asking you your opinion on those two apparently conflicting decisions of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Well, in my opinion, I think that there is still no infringement of the religious freedom. Because the present pandemic is quite scary. It is global in nature.
What is the constitutional basis for that, for your view?
The state has the right to protect its citizenry, and that
what is the doctrine or theory adopted by the Supreme Court with respect to religious activities? Have you heard about that? In Estrada versus Escritor?
Benevolent, is it the
yes.
benevolent?
Okay, continue.
The benevolent neutrality.
Yes.
That if the action will benefit the welfare of the people and it's not really one of hostile nature, then the state could accommodate. So this is what we call the benevolent accommodation, which particularly
okay. What is the exception? What is the exception?
There could be an exception.
Yes. What? What is the term used?
Concession. I don't remember.
You forgot.
The concession. Concession
Anyway, it is state compelling interest.
State compelling.
Kasama na doon yung health,
Opo.
Kasama na. Sabi nyo
Thank you po. Thank you for your honor.
Now, with respect to your essay, we are now going to number 4
Yes.
on the jurisdiction of the CTA to rule on the issue of the constitutionality of a law, a tax law or regulation.
Okay.
Uh, you said that the CA can
The,
only take. I'm
because
reading. I'm
actually,
reading. I'm
yeah,
reading.
yeah. I only ventured a guess there, Your Honor, because I was supposed to answer it last, but then the extension of time, they were so noisy. Everyone saying things, so I just wrote something just just to have an answer.
Who was no? Saan ang noise nang gagaling?
Ano po, because we
Ah,
were 13, ha? And then somebody said, "Oh, tapos na ako, gawin mo na 'to." And then somebody, "Oh, you check this first, Attorney Marian, Attorney Marian." Everybody was speaking and I was just trying to read and it's a long one. So when it said, "Oh, you have to pass it," I just put something.
oh, what
Sorry
was
about
that?
the answer.
What was
I
that
tried to
some?
review. I tried
Yeah.
to review po.
Oh, what was that
So,
something you put?
from my review, what I understood is that they have the quasi-legislative power and the quasi-judicial power. Yes. And this particular case, it refers to a
Hindi
quasi.
completely. If it is a quasi-judicial, so not entirely judicial. So
Opo.
they cannot rule on this
Yes.
such issue. The
It,
CTA has no
it goes
jurisdiction.
to,
It has
opo,
no
it goes to the
jurisdiction.
Secretary of Finance first before it goes to the court and then to the upper court. But if it's quasi legislative, then um, then the
Suppose it's in the exercise of its
huh?
appellate jurisdiction.
Again, please,
In the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction.
of the
Suppose it,
city of the CTA.
yes.
Yes, if it's quasi uh,
Appellate, in the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction.
okay, take it can take the jurisdiction. It can hear it.
Sige. Jurisdiction is conferred by law.
Yes,
What law
yes,
confers
true.
jurisdiction on the CTA? Di
Uh,
ba?
opo.
Jurisdiction is conferred by law,
Yes, yes. Opo.
not by the rules of court. It is
Yes.
conferred by law, right?
Yes, yes, Your
No.
Honor.
No.
Uh,
What law conferred that jurisdiction on the CTA?
the specific name, sorry.
Yes.
The law that created the Court of Tax Appeals and then thereafter the expanded jurisdiction.
So it was stated there
Yes.
specifically. Are you sure?
Uh, I think
Are you ready to read the
yes,
two laws, creating the
yes.
first one, creating the Court of Tax Appeals,
And
and the other one,
the expanded one,
expanding. Yes.
the
Then,
appellate.
oh,
There were several mentioned, particularly.
hanapin nyo kung merong power to rule on the on issues of constitutionality, specifically provided. Meron ba?
Sa
Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you
appellate ng
remember?
RTC decision and orders of the RTC.
Oo.
There were several. I'm sorry, I do not remember all of it.
Oh. But you read
I tried to.
right, but you read it. Di ba you are applying in the CTA?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
You are more comfortable there.
Yes, hopefully.
Eh,
It's a more of a limited scope than.
oo nga, kaya nga kukunti lang
Opo,
pag-aaralan
opo,
nyo. Kasi
opo.
kukunti lang ang review nyo, ano?
Oo.
Oh, edi,
Yeah, maybe
now,
because I just had
regarding
my.
okay, you read okay, from a decision of the CTA division,
Okay, division.
Oh, what is the remedy if you want it to be reviewed? Aside from a motion for reconsideration.
Because the CTA acts as one. So it has to go to the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Yes, Your Honor.
A CTA, the CTA and bank cannot review a CTA division, a decision of the CTA division.
I think so.
You think
That's how
so?
I remember it. I'm sorry, but that's how I remember it, that it
You-
is one court. Uh,
You remember that way?
nagkahalo-halo lahat. Your Honor.
You can appeal, you can question a CTA division decision to the CTA and bank. Do you know
Division.
that? Do you know that?
Oh,
Do you know that? Have you read that?
I am not really quite sure, Your Honor,
You're
because
not sure. Oh,
there
okay.
was one thing I read that being one court, they
Yan is sa Supreme Court. A
uh,
division
so
a decision of a decision of the division is a decision of the whole court.
okay. So I'm sorry,
Uh,
I mix it
I
already.
mix it. Nagpunta na kay Supreme Court,
I mix.
inaambisyonan lang niya CTA, nagpunta na kay Supreme Court. That is correct with respect to the
Sorry,
Supreme
Your
Court.
Honor.
Oh.
I'm sorry, nakahalo-halo na.
Oh, but in the
I'm
Supreme
sorry.
Court, you can also elevate a decision of the
En bank.
division.
The division to the
Supreme
en
Court
bank.
division to the en bank.
Okay.
You know that, no?
Okay.
Oh.
Yes, Your
Sa
Honor.
CTA, ngayon sa
I
CTA.
think I have so many things yet to.
Ay, sa CTA. You have so many things to read pa. You are already magsi-68 na.
But I just read it in 1 week. Because I had just had my cataract, so I cannot read really for long. Anyway, that's not really a reason, Your Honor. And I hope you will excuse me for not really reading so much.
No, kasi sabi mo you're comfortable with the CTA. So,
Yes, because I was thinking.
I went to the CTA para
Well,
comfortable ka.
actually, I studied the 120 and 30 days period for the BOT,
Yan.
and
Oh.
also
Eh,
bardal, the
mahihi,
bardal,
ay, sus.
the bardal
Bardal
for the net,
formula. I will not ask you
10%
that.
for net accumulated
Ay,
earnings, like
yun
that.
yung mga nabasa nyo. Hindi ko naman
Opo.
tinatanong.
Sorry po.
Di, okay lang. You should know that. You should know. You should know them.
And also the Baker doctrine for inordinate delay. So I'm sorry, my forecast is I'm not really a seer or a fortune teller.
Saturated kayo.
I lay my
Saturated.
fortune on your hands, Your Honor.
Saturated na kayo. Sige. Hanggang doon na lang tayo. Pagod
Okay,
na kayo
marami
eh.
pong salamat,
Oo,
Justice.
pagod na lang tayo. Kaya lang ako pumunta sa CTA, yun, sabi nyo, comfortable.
Opo.
You read section 11.
Okay,
Para
salamat po ng marami.
jurisdiction na CTA.
Okay.
Or yung review of a CTA.
I think thank you very much. Thank you very much po. God
Dinaanan ba
bless.
nyo yun? Dinaanan nyo?
Alin po?
Yung section 11?
Actually, binasa ko po, kaya lang I did not
Binasa?
remember all those
Cannot
things.
remember? What is the
Everything
procedure? Kunyari, punta ka doon, no? You go to the CTA and bank. What is the procedure according to section 11? Ano? Hindi na rin.
Hindi na rin po.
Hindi na. Okay lang. Okay lang. Oo. You applied Rule 42. The rules of,
Rule 42,
yes, you applied that.
petition for review.
Oo.
Okay.
You use that in the CTA and bank petition.
Okay. petition for
Okay na.
review.
After this,
Thank you,
baka
Opo.
ma-appoint kayo, magbasa kayo.
Ay, sige po. O, sige po,
Baka
salamat po ng
baka
marami.
ma-nominate kayo pala.
Hopefully,
We have no
hopefully and
power to
praying.
appoint. Oo. Sige,
At least
Judge.
ma-shortlist man lang po. Ma-shortlist. Sige po, thank you very much, Justice.
Sige, thank you rin.
For bearing up with me. You're very kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Cruz Mangrobang.
Okay,
Thank you.
salamat po. So I can leave now.
Okay, your excuse po, Judge.
So attorney po, attorney Tali.
Yes, Judge. Okay na po. Thank you po. Good luck.
Thank you.
Your Honors, the next candidate to be interviewed is Judge Maximo M. De Leon, presiding judge of Regional Trial Court Branch 143, Makati City. He is an applicant for the Court of Appeals and the Court of Tax Appeals. Good afternoon, Judge.
Yes, good afternoon po. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Your Honors. Good afternoon.
First
Good afternoon.
first to interview you is the Honorable Judge Franklin J. De Monteverde.
Yeah, thank you, Attorney Tali. Judge Max De Leon, good afternoon.
Good afternoon po, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Kumusta ka?
Mabuti naman po. Mabuti naman po.
Okay. You're now applying for the Court of Appeals for posts in the Court of Appeals and the Court of Tax Appeals.
Opo, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Last year we interviewed you, but you applied merely for the Court of Appeals, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, has there been any significant changes in your credentials from last year's interview to date?
There is no significant change in my credentials, Your Honor.
Okay. So why did you consider applying for the Sandigan Bayan?
I did not consider applying to the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honor.
Why, Judge Max?
Well, I am not familiar with the procedure and the procedure in the Sandigan Bayan.
Okay. And you are familiar with the procedures in the Court of Tax Appeals?
I can consider, Your Honor. I am quite familiar, Your Honor.
Okay. And to what extent are you exposed in the handling of taxation cases?
Well, in my personal point of view, when I was practicing my customs broker's license, I am a licensed customs broker, and when I was practicing my license as such, I handled cases, customs cases, which are exclusively fall under the jurisdiction of the Court of Tax Appeal, Your Honor. And because of that experience and exposure in that field, I may consider myself that I am familiar with, excuse me, with the works in the Court of Tax Appeal, Your Honor.
Okay. You highlighted in your intent letter, Judge Max, that you were the former president of the Makati City Judges Association Incorporated. When was this?
In the year 2018 to 2020, Your Honor, last January 2020.
When you have been appointed already as an RTC judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, during your incumbency, what programs or projects did you spearhead which you think are worthy to share to other judges group?
Well, during my incumbency, as their president. It so happened, Your Honor, that I was designated by the Supreme Court as the chairman of the Task Force Katarungan Kalayaan on Jail Decongestion, Your Honor. And I was made a uh, the messenger for them in disseminating information from the Supreme Court, from the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and I relate some programs relating to decongesting the city jail, Your Honor.
Okay. You are just 54 years old or 55?
55, Your Honor. 55.
Okay. And there are other applicants who are more senior than you in terms of age and career length in the judiciary. Would you think it better for the judiciary, for the JBC, to nominate and shortlist them than you? Why or why not?
Well, I believe, Your Honor, that uh, appointment in the appellate court uh, does not depend on the age of the applicant, but more importantly, it depends on the experience of the applicant in handling cases or in resolving cases, and uh, experience in expediting the resolution of the cases in his or her sala, Your Honor. So I believe that uh, being younger to the other applicants, I may consider that it will not be a disadvantageous on my part, Your Honor. Armed with my experience as starting from an ordinary Supreme Court attorney in our Supreme Court and the branch clerk of court for several years, and a public prosecutor and a municipal trial judge, Your Honor, I believe that my age will not be disadvantaged compared to other senior applicants, Your Honor. My opinion, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, in your experience, what has been the most effective method for improving court procedures and efficiency?
Well, Your Honor, modesty aside, first of all, that's a discipline on the part of the presiding judge, discipline in terms of time management, and also disciplining the court staff. First of all, uh, uh, to be an example to the staff in going to the office on time and leaving the office on time, and to show to the party litigants as well as counsels that the presiding officer go to the go to the court or to the office on time, and if that will be shown to them, I think uh, they will follow that discipline, and we can start the hearing early, and we can resolve uh, the cases early also, Your Honor.
Now, are there other methods which you could suggest to improve court procedures, especially on efficiency?
Well, Your Honor, um, when I was the member of the National Committee on Jail Decongestion, I was suggesting to the committee to, if possible, to remove in our rules of court the service of notices and service of summons through registered mail, Your Honor, because service of that court processes through registered mail will take so much time before reaching the parties, and filing of the pleadings from the parties to the court using registered mail will also take time before it reaches the court. And if that will happen, the resolution will take time also. And I in my opinion, one of the measures that that the case could be resolved uh, early or with dispatch is to have the services of the court processes uh, to the parties immediately using our technology now. And it so happened that we have now our 2019 amendments on the civil procedure, and it will help the court expedite the resolution and hearing of the cases, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge Max. Under the amendments to the 2019 code or to 1999 Code of Civil Procedure, what are the different kinds or the different modes of service?
Well, of course, we have the personal service, Your Honor, and
Yes.
if that is not possible, we have the substituted service, Your Honor. And also, we have uh, service through registered mail, of course.
Okay.
And we have also adapt the technology now, electronic service, Your Honor, being the last. And
There are 6 of them. Yes.
service of accredited private courier, Your Honor.
Okay. How about facsimile?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I forgot to include in the enumeration of my asset that facsimile service is also allowed under our 2019 amendment, Your Honor.
Have you heard of the Apostille Convention?
Yes, during the seminar, Your Honor, last week, I heard that Apostille Convention, but fortunately, I am not yet familiar with how service of court processes will be made under that convention, Your Honor. I understand that our Office of Court Administrator will issue on that on how the service will be made under that Apostille Convention, Your Honor.
Apostille Convention is, for your information and for your reminder, it is included in the 6th mode of service
Yes.
under
Thank
the
you, Your
amended Code of Civil Procedure.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You further study on that.
Yes, thank you very much for the information, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, what do you think are the key ingredients in maintaining successful relationship with your colleagues and subordinates?
Well, I believe that to be honest to them and to be frank with them are traits that would maintain a good and harmonious relationship between my colleagues and my subordinates. To be transparent in all the actions that I'm going to do, to be receptive of their ideas or suggestions or opinions.
Now, sometime in 2016, you were admonished in Administrative Matter Number RTJ-16-2447. What was the admonition, and kindly give us a background behind this?
Yes, Your Honor. I in that case, Your Honor, there was a counsel here in Santa Rosa, that he is already old at the time, you know. He's already old at the time. And by the time he appears in my sala as a municipal judge of Santa Rosa City, Laguna, uh, I maintain that the court hearing is always 8:30 in the morning and 1:30 in the afternoon. But he always come to my court at 10 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 11 o'clock in the morning. And if I cannot accommodate him, uh, he entertains some grudges against me, and because of his old age, he always use telling me that in his experience private practitioner for almost 40 years already, I should not be, I should not make that kind of uh, warning to the private practitioner. To cut the story short, he was there was a case, he was requesting me to render a favorable outcome of the case, and that involves a civil case, Your Honor. And
Okay, Judge Max, make it brief na lang, ha?
yes, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. So he filed that case. He used that case. He used that case against me. Uh, uh, because according to him, I failed to resolve his motion in due time. But all the records I showed to him that for 1 week or 2 weeks I always resolve his motion for execution. And it so happened that he was the one who requested me not to execute my decision, because the government of Santa Rosa was telling him that the government will just buy the property for the squatters. So I told him na it's up to you if you would not execute the judgment. It's up to you if you would like to wait for the government to buy that property. It's up to you. But uh, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months have elapsed and nothing happened. He again went back to the office and asked for another writ of execution, and I issued, and when he was about to execute that writ of execution, the squatters did not leave the premises, so he filed a motion for demolition. And I ask
Judge Max, excuse me, Judge Max. To cut it short, no, what was the admonition about? Were you fined or were you warned
I
or
was
what?
warned, Your Honor. Stern warning, Your Honor. Stern
Stern
warning.
warning
Stern
only.
warning. I was not fined by the Supreme Court. A stern warning.
Okay, sige.
The same manner that the complainant was also warned.
Okay. Both of you.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, you are presently the presiding judge of RTC Branch 143 in Makati City.
Yes, Your Honor.
And for how long have you been there?
Since 2013, Your Honor.
2013.
13, yes, Your Honor.
13. So about 7 years, no? And what
Yes,
is
Your Honor.
your caseload, present caseload?
As of November, I have 122, Your Honor.
Okay.
But when I
One.
filed my application, I used as cut-off last June 30, and that time, June 30, I have 141 cases, Your Honor.
Okay. Prior to your joining the judiciary, where were you connected?
In the Department of Justice, Your Honor, as Assistant City Prosecutor of Calamba, Laguna, Your Honor.
Okay. And before that?
I was the branch clerk of court of Regional Trial Court in Calamba also, Your Honor.
Okay. When did you pass the bar, Judge Max?
In 1995, Your Honor.
95. And your record here says that you took the bar exams twice?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, to compensate for that, can you cite some credentials in your favor?
Your Honor, in starting in the year 1996, Your Honor, I have been a lecturer, a reviewer of tariff and customs law in different review centers. And also, since year 2000, I have been teaching in University of Perpetual Help, handling business law courses. In 2016, I have been a professor at Lyceum of the Philippines College of Law and Philippine Christian University College of Law. And also, I have been lecturing in our Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency in Silang PNPA, Silang Cavite, and also in some of the LGUs in Laguna for katarungan pambarangay law, Your Honor. And yes, Your Honor.
You are a licensed customs broker?
Yes, Your Honor.
And aside from that, where did you take your pre-law?
In Lyceum of Batangas, Your Honor.
With what majors? Bachelor
Customs.
of Science in Customs Administration?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. How about master's degree? Do you have any?
2015 to 2017, I enrolled at the San Beda Graduate School of Law, Master of Law, but I was not able to finish it, Your Honor. I stopped in 2017.
How many years will it
Two-
take you to finish this Master's of Law?
In my computation, Your Honor, I still need to have 1 semester to 1 year, depending on the most is 1 year, Your Honor, to finish my Master of Law, Your Honor.
And do you have any intention of finishing it? You're only 55 years old.
Yes, Your Honor. If I'll given the chance to have an extra time for again enrolling in the master in my masteral, Your Honor.
Okay, my last question. What kind of a leader are you?
Well, I can consider myself that I am a servant leader, Your Honor.
Kindly explain, servant leader.
Yes, Your
What do you
Honor.
mean by that?
I do not put myself above them, Your Honor, but I am more comfortable if the members that I govern will make some errands to me, and well, I always, modesty aside, I always exercise humility when I lead the group, Your Honor, and I always listen to them, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge Max, that was my last question. Thank you for your time and good luck. Good luck.
Yes, salamat din po. Salamat din po, Your Honor. Salamat po.
Okay, stay safe.
Thank you, Honorable Judge De Monteverde.
Thank you, Attorney Tali.
The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tidham.
Thank you, Attorney Tali. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon po, Justice, Your Honor. Good afternoon po.
Right. I was looking at your PDS. You issued a TRO in the case of PGMA versus PCSO. You remember that case?
A little, Your Honor. A little, Your Honor.
And then, in the same case, you later inhibited. Why is it? You issued a relief, and then later on you inhibited. Why?
When after I issued a TRO, the parties filed a motion for my inhibition, Your Honor, and to avoid any.
Were you pressured by the parties to inhibit?
Not, I cannot consider, Your Honor, that they pressured me, but I just uh, reason out that to avoid any suspicions of doubt and to preserve the integrity of the court, it's rather good for me to inhibit in further handling that case, Your Honor.
But isn't it that when a judge inhibits, that means to say he is sensitive to what the litigants think of him, and in so doing, he is shirking from his responsibility of deciding cases without fear or favor.
Well, yes, Your Honor, I might be uh, I might have committed that
And
violation of.
isn't it that if you inhibit because the parties ask you to do so, it is because they think that you cannot be impartial. And so when you inhibit, is that not tantamount to admitting that you cannot be impartial?
Well, Your Honor, I did not consider that uh, impression of the litigants. I maintain that to further handle their case would uh, somehow give them the impression that I favor the the petitioner when I issued the restraining order, Your Honor. So to avoid any suspicion that I favor the petitioner, I granted their motion for inhibition to
Are
show
you,
to them that I did not favor anybody.
are you sensitive to suspicions? Does it matter if the litigants think that you are not impartial? Does it matter? So long as your decision is fair and correct, that is what matters, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if you are nominated and appointed to the appellate court, will you be inhibiting again?
So with that reminder of Your Honor,
Should not.
probably I cannot now.
You are a judge. It doesn't matter what the litigants and the lawyers think about you. You are not supposed to please the litigants or the lawyers. That is not the job of a judge. Now,
Thank you, Your
Judge
Honor.
De Leon, what is your understanding of judicial review? What is judicial review?
Well, judicial review is uh, that is a a method of revisiting what the lower courts have done in the hearing or judicial review may also be a method of determining whether the lower court is correct in appreciating the facts and in applying the law, Your Honor.
Is judicial review the same as judicial interpretation?
Um, in my opinion, Your Honor, uh, it has a little difference, Your Honor, in my opinion, in the sense that in my understanding of judicial interpretation focuses on the interpretation of the law involved in the case subject matter of the judicial review, Your Honor.
In judicial interpretation, what is the court doing? Is the court interpreting the law, or is the court interpreting the Constitution?
In judicial interpretation, the court is interpreting the provision of the Constitution, Your Honor.
Not the law. Not the law.
Not the law, Your Honor.
Now, in judicial review, the court is reviewing and deciding whether the acts of Congress or the acts of the executive branch is valid or not, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, judicial review.
So, when the court exercises judicial review, what is the court saying to Congress? What is the court saying to the executive department whose acts are being reviewed?
The court simply says to Congress or the executive department that the meaning of the law, Your Honor, in exercising the judicial power of the court simply means or simply says to the legislative the meaning of the law, Your Honor.
When courts exercise judicial review, are courts asserting supremacy or dominance over the legislative and the executive department?
Well, in my understanding, Your Honor, when the court exercises judicial review, the court is not saying that it is supreme over the other departments of the government, but it simply implies to them that the Constitution is superior. It's not the court which is superior, but the Constitution or the law that is superior. That is my understanding.
Can you give me a reason why judges are appointed and not elected? Is there a rational basis why judges are not elected?
Well, in my opinion, also, Your Honor, judges are appointed, not elected, to remove from the political exercise. If
But
the judge is elected,
appointment is political, correct? Appointment is political, isn't it?
yes, because the appointing authority is the president and of course politics.
The reason why judges are not elected is that so that judges can render even unpopular decisions, correct? So
Thank you,
a
Your Honor.
judge can render an unpopular decision. You do not need the approval of all the people, so long as your decision is correct and legal and constitutional. That is the most important. Now, Judge, can you tell me
Thank you for the enlightenment, Your Honor. Thank you for that.
the difference between a decision which is sui generis from a decision which is pro hac vice. What's the difference?
Your Honor, if still my memory still uh, uh, serves me right, Your Honor, a pro hac vice decision uh, literally means for that case only or for that occasion only, meaning it cannot be used in another in another case or subsequent cases, Your Honor. And the other one is
Sui
uh,
generis.
it has a binding effect on the uh, succeeding cases, Your Honor.
All right. You just research on that after the interview. What is the doctrine, Judge, of facial challenge?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I have not.
You also read
I'm
it.
not familiar, Your Honor, with that.
Very important. If you want to be elevated to the appellate court, you should know the meaning of a facial challenge.
The facial challenge.
Anti-terrorism law, is it a penal statute?
Um,
What is your understanding of the anti-terrorism law?
well, it is a penal statute, Your Honor, because it provides the penalty of imprisonment in case of violation of that law, Your Honor. And it's my understanding that what makes that law a penal statute, Your Honor.
Some of the petitioners allege that the anti-terror law, can be facially challenged because on its face, it is unconstitutional. In other words, if you read the law, you read the language of the law, on its face, it is unconstitutional. That is the meaning of facial challenge. Now, my question is, does the doctrine of facial challenge apply to penal statutes?
Well, I believe that uh, that facial challenge doctrine uh, will apply, Your Honor, to a penal statute.
All right. You research on that. Whether your answer is
Yes, yes.
is
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm taking down, Your Honor. I learn, Your Honor.
now there is a bill that was approved by the lower house in the US Congress legalizing marijuana for medical use and recreational use. The bill would remove marijuana from the list of controlled substances. You're lecturing on that, correct? You lectured to the Philippine National Police. Now, if the same law is passed in the Philippines, in your opinion, would it be constitutional?
So, given the fact that uh, there is law uh, removing marijuana uh, from the list of prohibited drugs, I may I am in the opinion that it is not uh, it is not unconstitutional Your Honor.
Mean to say constitutional. It is constitutional.
Constitutional, Your Honor.
Why?
Constitutional, Your Honor.
Is it in consonance with the Constitution?
In my opinion, Your Honor, and
Provision of the Constitution. What provision of the Constitution supports your answer?
well, this time, Your Honor, uh, I cannot uh, uh, I cannot just mention any provision which can support my answer. The only thing that I used in giving my answer is that uh, in the Bill of Rights under the Constitution, there is nothing, there is no provision that prohibits the passage of any law removing from the list of prohibited drugs, marijuana as a prohibited drug, Your Honor.
So you're saying when Congress passed a law prohibiting marijuana, they were doing an unconstitutional act then?
Well, I cannot consider also, Your Honor, that is unconstitutional.
So you're saying constitutional. So at the time that there is a law prohibiting marijuana, it was constitutional. And now it becomes unconstitutional. So are you saying the Constitution is flexible?
Well, when the Congress passed a law prohibiting marijuana, they made that because of the uh, inherent power of the state to protect uh, uh, its citizens and to promote the welfare of its citizens, and in passing another law removing that marijuana as prohibited drugs, for as long as it is based on scientific study that it is not harmful to the health of the people, then the purpose of the first law prohibiting marijuana is no longer existing.
Okay, you want to become a justice of the Court of Appeals or the Court of Tax Appeals. Now you will come across this doctrine. What is the doctrine of dependent relative revocation? Have you come across that? The doctrine of dependent relative revocation. It has something to do with wills.
Well, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I have not
You have not,
come across with that dependent relative revocation, Your Honor.
you research on that. Now, my last question is, what is the difference between police power of the state and the general welfare clause in the Constitution?
Where the police power of the state uh, that is the promotion of promotion and protection.
What power is it? Is it executive, legislative, or judicial?
The police power of the police power of the state is executive power, Your Honor.
Executive. You're sure? It's legislative power. Now, my question relative to that, the IATF health protocols, wearing of a mask, limiting the number of parishioners inside churches, COVID testing in airports, offices, and commercial establishments. Are these protocols in the law? The Bayanihan We Heal as One law?
I don't remember if there is a specific provision in the Bayanihan law if that health protocols is included in that Bayanihan.
Are these protocols valid?
Yes, Your Honor. I consider that as a valid protocol because it has a constitutional basis in the sense that the state has the duty to protect the health of the people, Your Honor.
Do
So
you always wear mask, Judge?
yes, Your Honor, but this time lang I do not wear mask because I'm in my house.
Are you willing to be vaccinated once the vaccine is made available? What's your answer? My vote will depend on your answer to that question.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm willing to be vaccinated because I believe that our Food and Drug Administration will not approve the vaccine if it is not effective or if it is harmful to the health of the people, Your Honor. So I rely on the expertise of the FDA people, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge, for your time and good luck.
Yes, thank you very much for the enlightenment, Your Honor. I'll take this as a pleasure, Your Honor. That reminders, Your Honor. Thank you po. Thank you po.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Tiham. The next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Ilaw Jr. Judge, Honorable Judge Ilaw. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes, there. Yes, good afternoon. Sorry.
Good afternoon
Because
po.
my driver dumating Ano mga inaano. Thank you, Atty. Tali. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yes, Judge Maximo Mercado de Leon. So you are from Latag?
Opo,
Taal?
Latag po, Taal. Latag, Taal, Batangas po.
Ano nilatag mo dyan? Your wife is also from Latag?
She is a native of Camarines Norte, Your Honor.
Native? What do you mean by native? Hindi siya imported? Ano?
She is her roots, her family is from Camarines Norte, Your Honor.
So, you obtained your Bachelor of Science in the Customs Administration in Lyceum of the Philippines, Batangas.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa proficiency in Tariff and Customs Law. Can you name other universities which offer this degree? BS Customs Administration, but not here in Metro Manila.
In Batangas, it's only Lyceum of Batangas. In Laguna, there is one, Calamba Hospital. and they have a maritime school there. They offered this customs administration. In Camarines Sur, they have Mariners Polytechnic colleges. They also offer customs administration in Legazpi, in Albay. They have also Mariners Polytechnic Colleges Foundation offering this course, Your Honor. And here in Manila, PMI colleges, Your Honor.
PMI in Philippine Maritime Institute.
Institute, yeah.
Institute or college now?
Institute.
PMI.
PMI.
But you obtain your bachelor's of laws at the University of Nueva Cáceres?
Yes, Your
Why
Honor. In Naga City.
How come you obtain your you took your
Because of my work, Your Honor, after I finished my customs administration in Batangas, I was sent by the then president of the Lyceum, Sotero Laurel, to handle customs administration department and Mariners Polytechnic colleges in Naga City. I understand that the owner of that school and the owner of Lyceum are good friends, Your Honor. So I was the one who was sent by Sotero Laurel in Mariners Polytechnic colleges in Naga City.
You also exercise before your profession as a customs broker.
Yes, Your Honor.
How often do you break or broke customs laws?
Well, I did not have the opportunity to exercise my customs brokerage profession long because I was sent by the Lyceum to Naga City, Your Honor. It only my practice lasted only for I think 2 months or 3 months, and thereafter my practice of customs brokerage mostly by giving lectures in the academy, Your Honor, in the academy.
Yes, please. Sorry. Please continue. Sorry for the interruption.
So I lectured mostly in tariff and customs law in different review centers, Your Honor, and actual brokerage practice in customs. Again, it lasted for only few months, Your Honor. So I did not have the opportunity to deal more on customs people inside. So I did not experience breaking customs law, Your Honor.
You're just joking.
Yeah.
Anyway, how many years did you spend and finish or obtain your masteral in San Beda?
I was not able to finish my masteral in San Beda. I stopped in year 2017, Your Honor. I had only 2 years in my masteral, and fortunately, I was not able to go back to San Beda to finish my masteral, Your Honor.
All right, you're being considered by this council for nomination to the office of the Associate Justice for the Court of Appeals and Court of Tax Appeals. What's among your qualifications and experience should the council take into consideration in evaluating your application?
Well, as shown in my uh, uh, personal data sheet and in my application, I started, Your Honor, as an ordinary lawyer in the Supreme Court, Office of the Chief Attorney, as a legal researcher, Your Honor. And after that, I was appointed as the clerk of court of RTC in Calamba, then the public prosecutor, and MTC judge of Santa Rosa City, Laguna, before my appointment as RTC judge in Makati. With the experiences that I had in my previous positions that I handled, Your Honor, I may consider that I can be given the same opportunity as the council gave to other applicants preceded to me in my search for that position, Your Honor. And besides, while I was uh, uh, in the judiciary, I have been always in the academe, lecturing some law subjects, and I also handled uh, uh, different positions in the committees created by the Supreme Court, which, in my opinion, can be used also in uh, in uh, in my search for the positions, affiliate position. And,
If you were to choose, which do you prefer? Court of Tax Appeals or Court of Appeals?
well, I prefer, Your Honor, to be given the opportunity in our Court of Appeals, Your Honor.
Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals as well as Court of Tax Appeals, they're both collegiate courts. And with your experience as a judge, how will you develop a good working relationship with your colleagues, but still maintain your independence as an associate justice?
With my experience as uh, uh, being the head of Makati City Judges Association for 2 years, I was able to maintain my independence to them without sacrificing the good and harmonious relationship between and among us in Makati. And also before I became the president of that association, I was also given an opportunity in other organizations to be their head. And during my incumbency as the head or leader of different organizations, I was able to maintain our relationship without any uh, bad relationship to my to other members or to other colleagues, Your Honor.
That is with respect to independence. What is your understanding of judicial integrity, propriety, and competence, and diligence relating to the judge's ethical conduct?
Well, in my own understanding of judicial integrity, that is more on moral principles or honor of uh, of uh, of the judge or a person. I also understand that integrity is more on internal aspects of a person, Your Honor, as distinguished from probity. Probity um, is more on external traits of a person. Uh, it implies um, proven and tested honesty of a person. And my understanding about competence, uh, it simply means um, uh, it depends on how a person handles cases as a judge or as a justice, um, being independent, um, given uh, the facts of or given uh, the value of his educational background or relevant experience to the job, and that what makes a judge or a justice competent in that position. Educational preparations or educational background and relevant experience to the position. That is what I understand about competence, Your Honor.
So you expound on judicial independence, integrity, about propriety.
Well, propriety. I also understand that propriety is somewhat similar to judicial independence, Your Honor.
But the medical results as well as in your examination, there are some indications of heavy or regular liquor intake noted in your protocol. And you even admitted that you used to drink 8 to 10 bottles of beer. Is this true?
Well, maybe before.
Maybe before.
Yes,
But
maybe.
now no more.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So it's only 3 to 5 bottles per session.
Now, Your Honor. But before, I must admit, before I consume 8 bottles, Your Honor.
Was a case filed against you by certain Reggie? What's this? Lim? Was there a case filed by certain Mr. Lim against you?
I don't remember, Your Honor, that
Reggie Lim. But in our records, there was a case filed against you, but you did not state it in your PDS.
I only what I only know, Your Honor, that the only cases that were filed against me, administrative case, where the case where the private complainant was a certain Olympia Chonko. Olympia Chonko filed two administrative complaints against me, and one from attorney Noel Sarate. And this happened when I was a municipal judge of Santa Rosa City, Laguna. But the one, Your Honor, that you are mentioning, I have no idea about that, Your Honor.
It is the alleged grave abuse of authority and grave abuse of discretion filed by Reggie to Lim,
Reggie.
but it was dismissed, but you did not indicate it in your 2020 PDS.
Reggie. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I could not remember that there was a certain Reggie who filed. What I only know is there are two individuals who filed administrative cases against me, again at Olympia Chonko and this attorney Novi Sarate.
And Noe Sarate. And
Novi
you claim that you were only sternly warned, or was you were admonished with stern warning. Am I correct? You
Yes,
were
Your Honor.
admonished.
Admonished, stern warning, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's go. All right. Could you explain the substantial decrease of your net worth in 2014? Because your net worth in 2013 is approximately 9.2 million, while net worth in 2014 is 2.7 million.
Can I look at my
Yes, yes.
SALN, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
2014, Your Honor.
Yes.
In 2014, Your Honor, my total asset is 10 million, Your Honor. 2014 is 10 million. Your Honor, alin po yung yung sudden
Decrease. Because your 2013 SALN with a net worth of 9.2 million.
2013 and 2014.
Yes, 2013, 9,257,595 pesos. Then in 2014 up to 2019 became 2,913,000.
Yes, Your Honor. In 2013, Your Honor, in 2013, 2013, Your Honor, my asset was higher because I do not know if I committed mistake in using the current market value and the acquisition cost, Your Honor, in declaring my property. In 2013, I used the current market value in computing the total amount of my real property, Your Honor, and that is 9,664,595. In 2014, Your Honor, it's not 9 million but 6 million only. And I used in 2014, I used acquisition cost, Your Honor, in declaring my assets, Your Honor. So again, Your Honor, in 2013, it was higher because maybe I committed mistake in using the value. I used current fair market value, which is higher than acquisition cost. In 2014, I used the acquisition cost, which is lower than the fair market, the current fair market value, Your Honor. That is my explanation, Your Honor, why there was a sudden decrease of my asset from 2013 2014. From 9 million, it became 6 million only. And from 2015 to 2016, it has also decreased of almost 2 million. Because in 2015, Your Honor, in 2015, I sold my two properties, Your Honor, amounting to more than 2 million, Your Honor. So the reason why there was a decrease in my SALN in 2015 and 2016 because of the sale of my two properties, Your Honor. I sold two properties, Your Honor.
All right, can you just submit a written explanation to that effect, even 5 days from today? You can just email it.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you likewise mentioned in your PDS Associate Justice Louis P. Acosta as one of your references.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Were you able to work with him in a professional capacity? Were you able to work with him in a professional capacity?
No, Your Honor. Justice Acosta is my friend, and when he was acting presiding judge of RTC Laguna, Calamba, Laguna, I came to know him because that RTC branch 36 Calamba, Laguna is the court where I was the branch clerk of court for more than 5 years, Your Honor.
How about ASEC Amard I of Department Transportation? Why do you know him?
He is also a friend and a fraternal brother, Your Honor.
Fraternity brother. In what school? What's your fraternity?
It's not a campus fraternity, but international fraternity, Freemasonry, Your Honor.
Freemasonry. What's this Freemasonry? Mason ka ba? Hindi ka naman kantero or mason o
Mason.
karpintero?
Mason po, Your Honor.
Mason. Sorry, sir, because I know only mason, karpintero.
Brad mo pala.
Ano? So you're a traveler pala.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
And also in the PDS, you declare, how many guns do you own? Guns. How many guns do you own?
I have
Listed.
three, Your Honor. Two pistols and one rifle, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, let's go to recent cases by the court. So are you applying or buying the position as Chief Justice of Court of Tax Appeals? All right. Is the personal service of a notice of disallowance by the COA upon each payee dispensable? Are you aware of the 2009 revised rules of procedure of the COA?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I am not familiar with that revised procedure of the COA, Your Honor. I'm sorry po. I'm sorry.
And what is the principle of legal certainty?
Legal certainty, Your Honor.
Yes.
Well, I can give answer.
Think again.
I can give answer, Your Honor, in the context of criminal law, Your Honor, legal certainty. Uh, 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 as just like moral certainty, Your Honor, in the rules of evidence, Your Honor, quantum of evidence required in the conviction, where legal certainty, my understanding is uh, the application of the applicable law on the given facts, Your Honor, uh, must be that the law must be uh, uh, appropriate in the given facts or uh, the issues involved in a case, Your Honor. It's my understanding, Your Honor, of legal certainty, Your Honor.
Let's go to corporation law. What are the features of the one-person corporation under the revised corporation code? This may be in your comfort zone. Can there be a one-person corporation?
Yes, Your Honor. I heard that there can be uh, a corporation consists only of one person, but the law governing that corporation, that one person corporation, I have not yet come across with that law, Your Honor. I have not yet read that law, Your Honor. So I have no complete idea on how that one person corporation is all about, Your Honor. I'm sorry for that, Your Honor.
About this, about the doctrine of incorporation. Do you have an idea? The doctrine of incorporation.
Well, my understanding about the doctrine of incorporation is the filing of the articles of incorporation with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and to have that uh, corporation incorporated, Your Honor.
It deals with the alleged conflict between the rule of international law and the provisions of the Constitution or statute of the local state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, about criminal cases, criminal law. What is the very essence of evident premeditation? What is your court? What is your sala? It's a regular court?
Regular court,
Dealing
Your
with-
Honor.
dealing
Regular
with-
court, Your Honor.
Dealing with the criminal cases, all cases.
Yes,
So
Your
what
Honor.
is the very essence of evident premeditation?
Well, my understanding, Your Honor, is that evident premeditation is what makes the killing a murder or to make an ordinary killing a higher 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 case, Your Honor, um, it elevates the even the penalty and and uh, yes, imposition of the penalty and the nature of the crime, Your Honor, from ordinary killing to a murder case, Your Honor.
Yes, that's very elementary. It's aggravating circumstance raising homicide to murder, the offense of murder. But in the case of People versus Manasala, the court made an emphasis as to the very essence of evident premeditation. All right, you can research on that.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, my last question. As for the psychological question. Imagine you are in a sinking rowboat surrounded by sharks. How would you survive? Just smiling. Ay, kabayan, ano?
Mahirap. Mahirap po yata yung tanong.
Mahirap gaya.
Well, maybe I will just pray for my
You'll
safety.
just pray.
I'll just pray, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That was my last and final question. Thank you,
Thank you po.
kabayan.
Salamat po,
Good luck.
salamat po, Your Honor. Opo. Ingat po, ingat po.
Traveler ka pala. You travel. Eh, paano kung magkaroon ng disgrasya? Lumubog. Eh, paano kung ngayon makakaligtas niyan? Alright, salamat.
Salamat
Thank you
po.
and good luck.
Salamat po, salamat po.
Thank you, Judge Ilaw. The next to interview Judge Maximo De Leon is Honorable Jose Mendoza. Justice Mendoza.
Kita.
Justice Mendoza, good afternoon po.
Good afternoon.
Last na yan.
Oh.
Last na.
Afternoon po, good afternoon po, Justice.
Good afternoon. Oh, the last time we interviewed you, mga 2 years ago ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor, in 2018, Your Honor.
I forgot also the questions. Oh, I will just base my questions on what you have written. I have heard your answers to the questions of my colleagues. I will just base my questions on this, and of course, answers to my questions. Have you heard about the Supreme Court decision in the US regarding the regulation by the state of New York on the number of those who can attend the church?
I'm sorry po, Your Honor. I have not come across with that news, Your Honor.
Yes, the state of New York limited the number of attendees because of the COVID pandemic. It immediately reached the US Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled against the state of New York. Now, in the context of Philippine laws, what can you say about that? Do you agree? that it is. No, I forgot to mention that the Supreme Court said that it is an infringement of the right to one's religious belief or the exercise thereof. Okay, what is your opinion?
Well, I cannot consider, Your Honor, that if that will happen in our jurisdiction, I cannot consider that that is an infringement of the right of the person to religious freedom, because primarily the state has the duty to protect its people in all forms if there is an impending harm to its citizens. And in our situation now that there is a pandemic, Your Honor, I may consider that such pandemic is an impending harm to the health of everybody, and that is the duty of the government to protect its people against that harm. And by limiting the number of attendees in any religious activities is not infringing the rights of the person to religious freedom, Your Honor, in the exercise of the powers of the government in protecting the health and lives of the people, Your Honor.
So you disagree? You will not agree with the decision of the United States Supreme Court.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Because there is no, according to you, there is no infringement.
Yes, Your Honor, because of it is the duty of the government to protect its people if there is an impending harm or threat to the lives of its people. And I consider pandemic as a impending harm or threat to the lives of the people, and the government has to do something about it. So by limiting the number of attendees in that kind of religious activities does not infringe the rights. It's not an absolute exercise of religious freedom. Is not an absolute. It's not an absolute right, Your Honor.
Okay, what is the benevolent neutrality theory?
I'm sorry po, Your Honor.
Saan na rin yan? Separation of church and state. Estrada versus Escritor. Matagal na yan.
Hindi ko po.
And then, reiterated sa Imbong versus Ochoa.
Wala po akong idea, Your Honor.
You have no idea?
Mahirap manghula po, Your Honor.
Mahirap manghula.
Opo.
Oh,
Pasensya na po.
the policy of the courts regarding the religion, the extent to which the state will allow the religion to exercise its prerogatives. Now, is that rule absolute? Sa tingin nyo, absolute ba yung rule? Yung policy na yun?
In my opinion, Your Honor, it's not an absolute rule because again, I stand with my.
Yes, sige, explain it kanina. What do you call the term which limits this policy or qualifies this policy?
Well, if there is a clear and present danger to the lives of the people, Your Honor, the government.
No, that is not the test there.
I'm sorry po.
Oh,
I'm sorry po.
If there is a compelling state interest, okay? Okay, you remember compelling state interest. Okay, you mentioned the clear and present danger rule. Where is that? What? Uh, where is that used? What test? That is a test. Uh, in what doctrine or provision is it used?
Well, like I was able to when I was reading uh, one textbook in taxation, I came across about that
Clear and present.
in the
Kasi you
constitutional limitation to the power of taxation is that religious freedom. And
no, but no, umalis na tayo doon. Pumunta tayo. You mentioned clear and present danger rule. What is that?
well, that is in the exercise of the freedom of speech of the people, Your Honor. The uh, uh, persons have the right to speak and to air their grievances, but in so doing, that is not an absolute right again. And if there is a present and clear danger, the government can stop the exercise of the freedom of speech, Your Honor.
Is that the now before we go into that, I'll go to your essay number 6. What you have written is that under our legal system, and while it's true that we have the freedom of speech, the media can discontinue the speech if it would invite chaos and disorder. You the uh, this was your answer in the situation where the media is stopped covering the speech of President Trump. So you remember that this is your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
You said that the media can discontinue the speech if it would invite chaos and disorder. Suppose the media uh, just stops covering the speech. Can it do that? There is no chaos and disorder, merely on its whim.
Well, the media, the media cannot.
Cannot do that.
Yes, Your Honor, because uh, the uh, situation is different from the situation where I answered in my essay that if there is chaos or disorder that
Yes, but
would
suppose it's our president in the Philippines. There is no chaos and disorder. There is nothing. Just the whim of the media. They stop covering the speeches of the president. Is this a violation of the freedom of speech?
just following, Your Honor, of my arguments in my answer, the media uh, would violate the right of the president to freedom of speech, Your Honor.
But
Because
it is just a private organization. For example, Rappler. We do not want to cover the speech of the president. Is that a violation of his free speech? If you stop covering the speech of the president, for example, Rappler, ayaw na namin sa presidente, cover yung speeches niya. Why do you say it's a violation?
Well, if that is the case, Your Honor,
That was the case. I was asking you, the media. Can the media discontinue the speech on its whim or caprice?
well, the media now does not violate the right of the president to freedom of speech.
When it stops covering.
Yes, Your Honor, the private
It's a private organization.
private organization, private
Suppose
organization.
it is PTB4.
Well, PTB4, in my opinion,
Government station.
can
Government station.
will violate the
The
right of
freedom of speech. Bakit kinakartel ba niya ang freedom ng president to make a speech? You change your answer?
Yes, I stand with my answer, Your Honor.
That it is violative.
That the freedom of speech or freedom of the press is not an absolute right, Your Honor. It can be limited if it would transgress the present and clear danger rule, Your Honor. I still maintain my answer, Your Honor.
But that was not my question. My question yung pinutol ng media. Hindi kinover yung speech niya. You are referring to your second paragraph eh. I have it. Huwag yung basahin, malilito ka. Malilito ka. You'll get confused. You're trying to read what you wrote. We will go into that anyway. You like to go there eh. Sige, pupunta tayo doon.
Well, if the private organization will stop covering the speech of the president, again, it is my opinion that
there is a violation.
There is no violation, Your Honor.
There is no violation.
No
You're changing your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. There's no
Paragraph. You're
violation.
changing.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Okay, you're changing your answer. Okay. What are the essential elements of the freedom of speech?
Well, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I forgot already the
Basic lang yun, basic lang. Wala sa sinulat mo, wag mong titingnan.
wala ko.
Madali lang. Yun yung mga estudyante kayang-kayang sagot.
Nalimutan ko na yata, Your Honor.
Nalimutan.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry po.
Freedom from prior restraint and ano isa? Sirit na. Binigay ko na isa. You should know the other one. Freedom from prior restraint. What is the other one? Nakalimutan na. Sirit na.
Opo.
Okay, freedom from subsequent punishment. So, na-remember mo na. What are the two limitations of freedom of speech? Of the press, of expression. Two general limitations or restraints.
Well, I understand that this clear and present danger.
That is the test. That tinatanong ko ano ang limitation. That is to determine the limitations. Ano yung mga limitations? With respect to the first yun, limitations of the first.
Sorry po.
Hindi, pagod ka na ata. Content-based restraint, and the other one, ano yun, binigay ko na yung isa. And the other one,
Content-based.
restraint, yung isa, content neutral regulation. Okay.
Thank you po. Thank you. Pasensya na po.
Pagod ka na. So, there are three tests in evaluating the restraints on freedom of speech and expression. There are three tests generally. One of them is the clear and present danger rule test. Okay? Binigay mo na yan. What are the other two? Relax lang, wag mag-mental block.
Parang
may mental block ka, nakuha mo na yung isa. Clear and present danger rule test. What are the other two tests?
parang hindi ko na yata, hindi ko na po ng political law po
constitutional law, political law. The other two are one, dangerous tendency doctrine or test. Dangerous tendency. So naalala mo na. And the other one is balancing of interest test. Nakalimutan mo na. Saturated ka na siguro, daming pinag-aralan eh. Now, in escuelas versus people, alam mo ito. What is the test used in the Philippines in that decision?
Well, to be frank, Your Honor, I cannot answer the question. I cannot guess, Your Honor. I cannot guess.
It's dangerous tendency rule. Yun. Titingnan ko pa. Ito, number 7, your essay number 7. This is about the order. This is the order of the labor secretary, allowing employers, this is a department order, allowing employers to extend the forced leave of their workers for 6 more months. It was the labor secretary who issued the order. In your answer, you said the department order is not illegal because it is a valid exercise of management prerogative. Why do you say that a department order is a management prerogative?
Yes, Your Honor. It's only now that I noticed my answer that it's the Department of Labor who issued that order.
Hindi management.
It's not management prerogative, Your Honor.
Bali. Kaya nga ako kaya tinatanong kita.
Yes, it's only now that I realized why I wrote that management prerogative.
Now you realize you wrote it. Why did you write it?
Because in my thinking during that time that it was the company or the office who
Issued the order.
issue the order.
Siguro you were confused. You were in a hurry. Okay lang.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Earlier you answered that you want to be inoculated with COVID vaccine and you will volunteer to be vaccinated, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can the government or the state impose or mandate that vaccination is obligatory to all persons in the Philippines? Mandatory vaccination.
Well, from
The reason of the government is that is to prevent the spread of the pandemic. But you do not want a person that does not want to be inoculated. He said he's the right to commit suicide. It is his own life. It is his own health. Can the government compel him to inoculate himself?
Yes, Your Honor, because of the constitutional duty of the government to protect its people, Your Honor, and again in this uh, time pandemic time, the government has to exercise and has to perform its duty in fulfilling its constitutional duty to protect its people by requiring us to receive the vaccine, Your Honor, of course, to avoid the spread and also to protect our health and lives.
So, in your view, the state can compel all persons to be vaccinated.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Despite the rights of those individuals.
Yes, Your Honor. Because of the provision of the Constitution that the government has the duty to protect its people from all harm.
Okay. You are applying in the Court of Tax Appeals and Court of Appeals. Okay, in the Court of Appeals, where does the Court of Appeals have exclusive original jurisdiction?
The Court of Appeals has exclusive original jurisdiction over the final orders or resolutions or decision of the regional trial courts, the quasi-judicial agencies, and
Judicial agencies,
including Civil Service Commission.
It has jurisdiction to what? What is the extent of its power?
Annulment to annul the judgment of to review the judgment of the regional trial courts, this quasi-judicial government uh, instrumentalities.
Yeah.
bodies and yes, agencies, government agencies.
Pinaghalo nyo na nyo yung Rule 43 at 47. O yung Rule 47 lang tayo. Rule 47.
So annulment of judgment of the regional trial court, Your Honor.
Yeah, final. What are the grounds?
Well, questions of facts and questions of law, or mixed questions of facts and questions of law, Your Honor.
On those two grounds, or you review your Rule 47, the grounds. Hindi, ako na, sasabihin ko na ang grounds. Mali yung sinabi niyo. For lack of jurisdiction and two extrinsic fraud. You remember now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, you remember.
Extrinsic
Okay.
fraud.
What is intrinsic fraud?
Intrinsic fraud, Your Honor. Intrinsic.
Yes.
Intrinsic fraud. Well, intrinsic fraud. These are
Masasagot mo yan kung i-compare mo sa extrinsic.
yes, fraudulent acts of a person committed during trial.
Okay, during
Because
trial,
yes.
one party prevents the other party from admission. So, yun ba? Is that the fraud you mentioned?
If
Prevented the other party during
if the
the
other
trial.
party prevents
During
the
the
other
trial.
party to present his or her case in court, and if it is committed outside trial, that is extrinsic fraud.
Hindi, committed during trial.
But if it is committed during trial, well, that is intrinsic fraud.
Unofficial. Or during, inside the courtroom.
Well, not all acts committed during the trial can be considered as intrinsic fraud. Depending on the fraudulent acts committed by
You make the distinction. Ikaw na mag-distinguish. Enlighten us.
well, fraudulent extrinsic fraud. These are fraud or fraudulent acts committed outside the trial, which prevents the defeated party to present their case in court.
Ngayon,
Intrinsic fraud, these are frauds or fraudulent acts committed during the trial of the case.
During the trial of the case.
Can I give example, Your Honor?
Sige. Kaya-kaya mo yan.
Well, by way of
in your own language. In your own language para madali mo lang ma-express.
Yes, Your Honor. Intrinsic fraud, these are fraud perpetrated by the other party against the other, preventing preventing that party to present his case in court, Your Honor.
Okay. Parehong extrinsic fraud yun. Ang intrinsic fraud is the very issue. The fraud is the very issue in the trial. Parehong extrinsic fraud yun. Sinabi mo. Oh. Anyway, punta tayo sa another sa Court of Appeals bago tayo pumunta sa CTA. There are three categories in which the Court of Appeals is allowed to receive evidence. Usually, review lang yan ng records. Diba? Elevated ng records, i-review lang. Aside from yung discretionary, what are the three categories mentioned in their internal rules where the court can receive or allow reception of evidence or presentation of evidence?
The Court of Appeals can receive evidence and conduct hearings in the exercise of their
Basta hindi hindi yung sinasabi ko discretionary on that part.
in the
Very
exercise
general yun eh.
in the exercise of their original jurisdiction and in the exercise of their appellate jurisdiction, and the third is there are factual issues to be resolved, Your Honor.
Those are very general. Of course, they have original jurisdiction. They have appellate jurisdiction. What are the circumstances?
Well, in the exercise of their original jurisdiction,
Ano mo, specify mo.
To issue writs of petition for mandamus, for petition for certiorari, prohibition.
What do you call them? How do you lump them? For example, terrorist, anti-terrorist law, kalikasan. How do you lump them? In what category? There are only three. Yung number 3 is that in criminal cases where there is a newly discovered evidence, lumped with that is evidence to prove damages in case of provisional remedies. Okay, number 2 is in civil cases where there is also newly discovered evidence. What is the first one? Sinabi mo na kanina eh. Ngayon mag-iisip ka ulit kung anong sinabi. When the court is in cases where the court has original jurisdiction, gaya ng annulment, gaya ng writ of kalikasan, necessary exclusive, pwedeng concurrent, anti-money laundering law, ayun, Now you remember?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Punta tayo sa Court of Tax Appeals. How do you what is the remedy if you want to question the decision of a Court of Tax Appeals division?
The remedy is to file
in the same division, you can file a motion for reconsideration. Okay? Saka pupunta after that division.
To the en banc of the Court of Tax Appeal, Your
Yes,
Honor.
what is the procedure?
To file a petition for review, Your Honor.
What is the procedure there in petition for review? There are so many petitions for review. There is in the rules of court. What kind of procedure? Petition for review. Zero na. Say by the bell.
Sorry, Your Honor,
What is the procedure?
well, what I only know is to file a petition for review.
Yeah, you file a petition for review under what procedure? Nasa section 11 nyo. Mukhang nabasa nyo section 11.
Petition for review on certiorari.
No.
Well, that is for the Supreme Court.
Petition for review. Petition for review under Rule 42 of the Rules of Court. Yun is specifically provided doon. Meron pa isang petition for review under the Rules of Court. Under Rule 43.
Appeal by
under
by
Rule
certiorari.
43. Oh.
Appeal by certiorari.
Can a party, a disgruntled party in the Court of Tax Appeals, avail of that remedy in the Court of Tax Appeals? Petition for review.
The decision of the Court of Tax Appeal is reviewable by the Supreme Court via petition for review on certiorari.
Ngayon, andun muna tayo sa ano lang. Doon lang tayo sa CTA. Sa CTA lang. 43.
Decision of the division in the CTA is appealable to the en banc, CTA en banc.
Petition for review yun. We covered that already. Sabi natin, petition for review and the procedure is under Rule 42 of the Rules of Court. Ngayon, meron bang petition for review under Rule 43 sa CTA?
Well, I don't believe, Your Honor, because wala po, Your Honor.
You're sure of that?
Based on my understanding, Your Honor, because Rule 43 applies to appeal to the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
Kung galing sa administrative agencies.
Well, in the exercise of the appellate jurisdiction of the Court of Tax Appeal, the decision of the CTA can be elevated to the Supreme Court, Your Honor. Under Rule 43.
Sige, you review your Section 11. Baka ma-appoint ka sa CTA. When it is the subject is the subject of the petition is a decision or ruling of the Central Board of Assessment Appeals and the RTC in the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction. Appeal shall be made by filing a petition for review, analogous to that provided for under Rule 43 of the Rules of Procedure. Natandaan mo na? Rule 43. Merong Rule 42 petition, merong Rule 43. Oo. Okay?
Po. Thank you po. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you po. Thank you.
Sige, baka pagod ka na eh. Kayang-kaya mo yung mga yun eh. Baka napagod ka lang. Oh,
Salamat po, Your Honor.
mental block. Sige, sige. Thank you very much. Or
Salamat po.
gusto mo pa maraming tanong? Ay, hindi na. Hindi na. Sige.
Salamat po. Salamat po. Salamat.
0-0-0 na doon. Sige,
Salamat.
sige.
Salamat po. Salamat po.
Oo. Baka ma-appoint ka sa dalawa, kailangan magbababasa ka.
Opo, salamat po.
Video sa dalawa.
I will comply po. I will comply po.
Oo.
Salamat
Ano
po.
na yung Section 11, Jurisdiction of Powers and CA. Okay, you're excused, Judge. Best of
Salamat.
luck. Oh,
Salamat po. Salamat
thank you
po.
very much. Oh.
Thank you very much, Justice Mendoza, Judge Maximo De Leon.
Thank you po.
That
Thank you po.
concludes, yes po, that concludes the public panel interviews for today. The next interviews will be on Friday, December 11, 2020.